MMA is one of the most entertaining combat sports in the world, and honestly, one of the most entertaining sports in general. There's nothing quite like it. You got striking, grappling, submissions, knockouts, and the constant unpredictability of anything being able to happen at any moment.
Holloway shows some mortality. Look at this. Holloway just told him, stand right here. Oh, big connection late.
That's what makes MMA special. But over the past few years, I feel like MMA, especially the UFC, has been taken over by champions who are, for lack of a word of, boring. And since we're in the 6-week stretch with no UFC events, I figured now's the perfect time to talk about it. First off, I want to make something clear. I'm not even mad at the champions themselves. Guys like Islam Makhachev and Khamzat Chimaev doing exactly what they're supposed to do. They're winning fights, they're protecting their records, they're building their legacies. I understand that completely. At the highest level, the goal is to win, not to entertain fans. I get it, but let's be honest about what we're watching. In the recent fights, a lot of action was just them laying on their opponent for 25 minutes. Control time, pressure, minimal damage, no real urgency to finish the fight. And again, that's effective, it's dominant, but that doesn't automatically make it entertaining. What really annoys me isn't even the fighters, it's the fans in the comment sections. Anytime someone says a fight like that was boring, there's always people responding with, just go watch kickboxing then. And that response makes no sense to me because it completely ignores the point. You can acknowledge that something is effective and still admit that it was boring to watch. Like, don't deny reality. If you just watch someone control another fighter for 5 rounds with almost no damage and no real submission attempts, you can't seriously tell me that was exciting. Dominant, yes. Entertaining, that's debatable at best. And I always hear people say, well, grappling is a part of it. Obviously it is. I'm not saying grappling is bad. I'm not saying wrestling doesn't belong in sport, but there's a huge difference between active grappling and stalling for ground control. There's a difference between chasing submissions and holding someone down to the ground to win a decision. What I don't understand is how some fans genuinely enjoy watching two guys hug on the ground for 25 minutes. I really don't get it. If we're using the logic of just go watch kickboxing, then I could use the same logic and say, if you enjoy that, go watch two men cuddle on the ground for 25 minutes. At some point, we have to admit that not all winning styles are fun to watch. And before anybody calls me a casual, look at fights that people actually talk about and remember. Look at fights like Royval versus Van. Those guys went to war. They fought their hearts out for every second the UFC gave them. There was an urgency, there was damage, there was risk. That's the kind of fight that makes fans fall in love with MMA. Same thing with fights like Holloway versus Poirier. Nobody called those fights boring. Nobody was checking their phone halfway through. Those fights are why people tune in. They're exciting, emotional, and unforgettable. And I'm not calling all grapplers boring either. There are fighters like Charles Oliveira that prove that grappling can be insanely exciting. When he gets someone to the ground, he's attacking nonstop.
With the Hail Mary, but look out! He's trying for another submission, and there is the tap! He continues!
He's hunting the submissions. He's taking risks. He's trying to finish the fight. That's entertaining MMA. What worries me is that fights like Islam and Khamzat's push away new fans. Someone watching MMA for the first time sees a 5-round fight with almost no damage and thinks, this is boring. That's bad for the sport. The UFC should be encouraging fighters to chase finishes and create excitement, not just rack up control time and coast to decisions. So yeah, call me a casual if you want. I don't really care. I watch MMA to be entertained, and watching someone sit on another fighter for 25 minutes with no real attempt to finish is not entertaining to me. If that's your thing, cool, but don't pretend everyone else is wrong for saying it's boring.